When you've been in the presence of legends, you take your shoes off. When you've been in the presence of legends in the making, you take your shoes off. And when you talk about someone who comes with her own things and walks like a lion, you take your shoes off. You have to be flat-footed to talk about that. They told me I was giving a keynote address, and that scared me. But here we are, and let's see how this goes. A consort of the spirits, the making of a self. There wasn't enough for indigo in the world she'd been born to, so she made up what she needed, what she thought Black people needed. There wasn't enough for Ntozake Shange in the world she'd been born to, so she made up what she needed, what she thought Black people needed. There wasn't enough for me in the world I'd been born to, so I made up what I needed, what I thought Black people needed. There isn't enough for queer Black women, femmes, and non-binary people in the world we've been born to. So we make up what we need, what we think Black people who bear the brunt of multiple simultaneous structural violences need. Access to the moon, the power to heal, daily visits with the spirits. And isn't this refrain always true of us for whom Zaki's words are a honeyed incantation? We who fashion a self between starshine and clay with no model for our becoming, our one hand holding tight our other hand, as Mama Lucille wrote less than 2 decades earlier. It is the same kind of making of a self in Harriet's fugitivity, uttering "my people are free" while enslaved. Zazu Nova and Marsha P. Johnson threw the first brick of the Stonewall Rebellion, reaching for the moon, claiming their right to space. To space. And maybe that's why Mama Zaki loved Sun Ra and his Astro-Black mythology. Zaki saw Black people move the ground and set stars beneath their feet. We have always been from the future. There has always been a consort of the spirits like the ones I just called, insisting on our communal making the impossible possible. It is a wayward urge to, as Saidiya Hartman tells us, practice an ongoing exploration of what might be. It is an improvisation with the terms of social existence where the terms have already been dictated, when there is little room to breathe, when you have been sentenced to a life of servitude, when the house of bondage looms in whatever direction you move. It is the untiring practice of trying to live when you were never meant to survive. So, it is appropriate that a late 20-something-year-old Zaki, fresh from her Broadway debut, adorned in plastic barrettes and neon jelly sandals, began her commencement address at the Duke Ellington School of the Arts with the words, "Let me tell you about life." After all, her work and the work of her work, a la Toni Cade Bambara, was about life, is about life. Shaping a life beyond the confines of our socialization, beyond oppressive authorities and respectable parameters. The Ntozake Shange Social Justice Residency is about life. It is about opening the sky of Black women, femmes, and non-binary people's imagination so that we may touch the rim of the moon, if not pull it down and make heaven on earth right now. This residency, unprecedented in both its design and intention, exists so that women, femmes, and non-binary people of the African diaspora can have space to access the moons of our imaginations, the human and material resources to access our power to heal. The Ntozake Shange Social Justice Residency is a result of my daily visits with the spirits. It is, at its core, an invitation to sit a while, read a while, a long while, write a while with the spirits and in the spirit of the Black radical tradition. It is Thursday, November 16th, 2017. Fall is fragile and gives in to winter's coaxing, and the sky is spitting that sloped, frosty rain that never runs in the direction of my umbrella. I am 10 minutes late to Ntozake's book release for Wild Beauty at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. I am ashamed of my tardiness. I am tired of my raggedy job in Brooklyn. I am a poet, as I've always been, who sees the viability of theater as a vehicle for revolution, but I am not yet a playwright with a capital P, meaning I have no social capital in the city of New York. I have no fellowships, residencies, readings, or theater community. My name has not been uttered at any major institution. American Theater Magazine and the New York Times don't know my name, and that was a nice time. Just that part, you know. I do not know that I am 2 months shy of being awarded the Lark Van Leer Fellowship. Oh no, I need the lights back. Thank you. You know, I gotta see. I do not know that I will quit my toxic job and live off my $30,000 fellowship and a part-time job as the internship coordinator for Columbia University's Art Administration graduate program. I make $15 an hour. I do not know that I will become an artist at the Public Theater at the age of 27, the same age as Ntozaké when she began working with the public. I do not know that Oskar Eustis would become my Joe Papp. I do not know that Olivier Sultan, who was Ntozaké's agent, will become my agent. I do not know that Elizabeth Van Dyke of New Federal Theater, where Ntozaké's For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough first premiered, will become my theater mom. And I do not know that Samuel French, who published so much of Ntozaké's work, will publish mine. I do not yet know, or rather accept, that I am a consort of the spirits. All I know in this moment is that I am 1 year into my new autoimmune disease and ocular disability. All I know is that I must write to make my new self make some kind of sense that I can live with. All I know is that the rain is taunting my vision loss, and I am late to see Ntozaké and ashamed. I enter the familiar crowded space and push my way to the front of the left side of the stage. The band is playing. My eyes scan the room for Ntozaké, but I do not see her. And then I feel someone behind me, their hands around my waist, fingernails painted a perfect cobalt blue. "You having a good time, baby? Love the hair wrap." And there she is, my literary mama, dressed in a floor-length gold lame gown with a bold red lip and two-tone cornrows and 1B in that number 27 blonde. The black women know what I am talking about. We hug, and she shuffles by and ascends to the stage. I see the effects of the 2 strokes and the degenerative nerve disease, and I feel my tears pressing their way forward, but she is also sexy and tells us so. She declares this is a night of dancing and celebration, of celebrating life, and it is. The books have photocopies of her signature pasted into the book jacket. It is a reminder that even a single word is a miracle, as Ntozaké fights to regain her ability to use her fingers to write. The women in my maternal lineage all have the gift of sight. My clairvoyance manifests in part by knowing when elders are going to depart from this plane. Having been so close to elder Black women from childhood onward, such seeing is a gift and a burden. When I became disabled and began grappling with permanent vision loss in my right eye, I scoffed at the gift of sight. What good is it to see death come upon somebody? After the show, I greet Ntozaké amid her clusters of fans, one of which was Jack, and we had not yet met. I greet Ntozaké amid her clusters of fans clamoring for photographs, and I saw it. A full year wouldn't go by without her passing. I wanted a photo with her that night, But what pressed urgently on my spirit was to tell her how her legacy would live on through me, that I would help make sure we never forgot her, what she taught us. I knelt before her, holding her hands in mine, and made these promises. The gift of seeing is vision, to see past the right now and peer into the what will be and can be. The gift of disability and chronic illness, if there is one, is to consciously and unconsciously have legacy on one's mind. It's the living that we can measure in integrity and how different the world is or isn't because we were here, that haunts us, not death. Toni Morrison told us, frankly, we die, that may be the meaning of life, but we do language, that may be the measure of our lives. So women, femmes, and non-binary people of the African diaspora, keep doing language. Fix the tools to your needs, take it apart to the bone, so that the malignancies fall away, leaving us space to literally create our own image. Remember, not all speech is words. We are a people who speak with our bodies. Extend that already extended leg further, stretch. Move toward that sculpted impulse and labyrinth destiny of Miss Diane McIntyre. We do language, but dance we do also, especially in furious times. And we sing too. We must write in all the technologies we have and need. There's a reason the church mothers would say, ain't no harm no moan. And that song that says, if I can't say a word, I just wave my hand. And read poems, Black poems, Black women's poems. Know that poetry can bring bleeding women and children at a time. This work is born of the Spirit. It is best to go in knowing that working in the other realm is dirty work, makes us smell bad, is serious like that, peaceful like that. I sweat when I write. Do you? It is a communal endeavor, liberation, that is. It is a communal endeavor, Black women, femmes, and non-binary people's survival and potential to thrive, that is. So we all must do more than write in the quiet of our lonely. Zaki was an active member of the Bay Area Poets Coalition, Third World Women's Collective, the Sisterhood, and attended SNCC meetings between classes at Barnard and poetry readings at night, and participated in the Columbia Rebellion. She visited, taught, and mentored the students of Barnard, juvenile detention centers, and beyond. Her life and way of working shows us that individual accolades mean nothing for the state of our community. She wrote and worked for young girls of color, for girls who don't even exist yet, so that there is something for them when they arrive. And she went on to say, here, look what you can live. Look what you can think. She says, I concentrate on giving this to young people because they are the treasures of Black culture. She made something so that when we came out from under our starched pinafores and pressed heads, we'd have some notion of dream and sanctity of spirit. I am not my ancestors' their wildest dreams. I'm not. But my God, I hope to grow into them. Their tenacity, creativity, and relentless imagination. I hope to cast my imagination into the deep waters beyond the nets, traps set before me. I want that for all of us, Black people, people of the global majority. White people, y'all ancestors are questionable, so I couldn't write you in there. I don't know if I want you to be their wildest dreams. I don't know. You know, words have power. They set up atmospheres. I don't want to, So, Comrade Mary Hooks told us that the mandate for Black people in this time is to avenge the suffering of our ancestors, to earn the respect of future generations, and to be willing to be transformed in the service of the work. I created this residency to avenge Ntozake's suffering. In the margins of her journals, in the archives that we should all be in here at Barnard, in the margins of her journals, you'll find her adding up bills. You'll find entries of her battling with her bipolar disorder in a world unkind to Black women with mental health disorders. I created this residency because Zora Neale Hurston died penniless, and while alive had to bend to the will of a benevolently racist white woman to have funds to do her work. I created this residency because my great-great-great-grandmother Viola Greenspan, a Black indigenous woman of what is now Mississippi, made quilts out of scraps of materials. Because my grandmother Linda was a singer who died with a song in her throat. Because my great-great-great-grandmother Rosalie Ybarra Barois came to New Orleans from the Dominican Republic and painted nails instead of portraits. Because it was the work of Black women who kept the Broadway revival of For Color Girls from closing before the end of its limited run. Because I will not die having left another generation of Black women, femmes, and non-binary people believing that we must buy into the myth of scarcity. Because Broadway did not dim the lights when Ntozake passed. Because her name isn't said nearly enough. Because I am angry that Ntozake is not here and miss her every damn day. Because she transformed me at the age of 15 and changes me now even beyond the veil. Because I believed if I built it, you would come. And you did. And you will. I am simply moving the needle forward. I am one in the number. And I have much work to do before I leave this world. I'm planning on leaving it around like 113. I think that's a good time to go. I think that's a good time. I think I'll be ready, you know. The Ntozake Shange Social Justice Residency is here. And now, as Ntozake said, I am on the other side of the rainbow, picking up the pieces of days spent waiting for the poem, waiting for the residency, waiting for the archives to be heard. While you listen, I have other work to do. Thank you.